All right, shalom, shalom. I'm going to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rukak, Kwadash. I want to say give double honor to the apostles and the bishop, elders, a great millstone, for teaching this word in truth and sincerity and for ruling well. Salutation to the elect. Well, one we some of those men and women who believe in fear in the name of Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. And I'm the brother Gabar Yahweh from GMS Hawaii, coming to you with another quick lesson. And referencing this video put up by Priest Genesis Mode, the apostles from Apostle Tahar, Apostle Kubar, Elder Yakanan, Elder Ricardo Kwam, just to name, just a few videos that I've come across in the last couple of days, and I kind of wanted to, just kind of get my spiritual sense in this, with this whole thing. Because you got a lot of hirelings out there, right? You got a lot of people that are just, they might be hired by Esau, right? From these different organizations, setting Jake up to go off, right? Because right now, this truth has permeated the whole earth. The whole earth, this truth is everywhere, right? Everybody knows about the Hebrew Israelites, right? And you got a lot of people amongst our people who see that, and they use that as an opportunity to take advantage of the people who are trying to seek the truth. Now, we know that the elect going to get the whole full truth, and 2/3 not, right? And you don't just got 2/3 of Jake that's in the world running around in these different religions, running around in pride and doing and just doing what they want to do. You got 2/3 amongst those that know that they're Israelites. Hence the reason why judgment is going to come first at the house of the Lord. And if the scripture says if it first begin at us, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? Okay? You have a lot of Jakes that know that they're Israelites that are going to get brutally judged. Why? Because of the things that they're saying, right? A lot of these, the scripture says, every idle word, let me get that real quick, and then I'll go back to Titus. Every idle word, every idle word, right? This is St. Matthew chapter 12, verse 36. But I say unto you that every idle word that man shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment, right? And it's not going to be a welfare line where you waiting to talk to the Lord to give him an explanation of why you said the things you said. Is you're going to have to account for these things that you're saying when judgment comes, right? That's why your judgment is going to be poured on you, okay? In the NLT it says, and I tell you this, you must give account on the judgment day for every idle word. Let's go to that word for idle, right? In the Greek, that word there for idle in the Greek is argos, right? Argos, which is what? Free from labor, leisure, lazy, shunning labor which one ought to perform, right? Because this work is a labor of love, right? And when you call yourself putting your hand to the plow and doing this work, right, you got to do it wholeheartedly. You can't do it half-assedly, and you definitely can't do it deceitfully. And that's what these guys are doing. Genesis, Deacon Hakkad and Brother Hassad, formerly of the Sakari, now of the so-called Genesis organization, right? And they're doing it like Apostle Gabar said. These guys are doing it for money's sake. That's what they're trying to get all of these, keep these disciples and followers, because it's really about money. And then you're going to learn something. These guys are talking about the lake of fire is not America. They're saying that the lake of fire is actually a river, right? They're doing this because they want to stay here in America, right? They're winning here, right? They're making money hand over fist here, right? By deceiving the people, they get to indulge and all of their fantasies that they want to be. Like this one guy, Hassad, he's all pressed up about his sword. You want to see that in a second, right? He's all, I want people to see my sword. He's proud about his sword. He's proud about his rapping, right? He got his merchandise, okay? They got this merchandise thing going on, so where they don't want that to stop. They don't want that to end, because in their mind, this is the kingdom of heaven for these guys, right? These people, they want to put themselves on a level where they're respected and lauded and treated like they're really significant, but in reality, it shows how spiritually small-minded these men are. Okay, you teaching things you ought not to teach, right? Let me go back to the precept that I had a second ago. The book of Titus, chapter 1, verse 9. It says, "Holding fast the faithful word as he have been taught." Now these guys, they came up in great millstone, right? Not saying that they were the most diligent, not saying that they were the most on point, but these guys, particularly, what is this dude named? Deacon Hassad and Alazar Bun Sodom. Those two dudes, they came out of great millstone, and they knew the truth. But even while they were amongst us, they were bucking up. They were doing their own thing. The main head, Sakari, he was teaching things, causing division, strife, confusion amongst the brotherhood, right? He always wanted to be something bigger than what he was. He didn't want to be a prophet, right? He didn't want to be a true prophet of the Lord. He didn't want to serve Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. He wanted to serve himself. And that's likewise these guys, Hassad and Hakah. Hassad and Hakah. Right? These guys, they really they want to serve themselves. You got the Cash App going. He got the Zelle going. He got, what else he got? He got the Venmo going. Right? I believe this might be PayPal. Right? He got all of these different things for cash. He got the Cash App on there. Why? Because his main motivation is money. So they got to say something that's going to keep people in a mindset of staying here in America. Right? The scriptures say that America is going to be destroyed in 1 hour. This place, America represents, you ain't going to see America written in the Bible, but you will see in the prophetic scriptures, Babylon the Great, spiritually Sodom and Egypt, Assyria, Nineveh, Edom. All of these things, they represent America, the daughter of Babylon, right? That great harlot that sits upon many waters, that great whore that rides the beast, right? That represents America, right? America is set up to be destroyed, right? And that lake in which John was illustrating in the book of Revelation representing America from a bird's eye view, like sitting over top of it. You look at America, and if it's all on fire, right, the waters around America ain't going to be on fire, like the ocean, the Pacific and the Atlantic Ocean, right? But America, in the midst of all that, going to look like a lake of fire, right? And that's not something that ChatGPT can give you. That's not something that a hireling going to give you. First of all, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai got to get up to you and open your mind up to receive it and understand it, because that's a part of prophecy. But these guys, they're not pushing prophecy. Like, they're wanting them, they're feigning themselves to be prophets, but these are not men of the Lord. Right, let's go Titus 1 and 9 again. "Holding fast to the faithful word as he had been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and convince the gainsayer." In the NLT it says, he must have a strong belief in the trustworthy message, because this word is trustworthy. When the Lord say he's going to destroy America, trust, it's going to happen. All right? America, of all places on the earth, has to be judged for what is done to the Lord's people and what is done against the name and power of Yahweh Bashar Shah. On top of the fact the Lord created this place, had this place created and established so that he can destroy it and show his power in doing so, especially when he sent his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, back with the heavenly host of angels. And bringing the nuclear missiles with him. Because all of that's going to be happening simultaneously. As the nuclear missiles are flooding the skies, the chariots are going to be flooding the sky and picking up the elect of Israel in those chariots we call spaceships, right? And also shooting laser beams, right? Concentrated fire along with nuclear missiles descending on this place, man. Right? No other place on earth is going to look like that. Right? Some other places are going to get hit, but America is going to get completely destroyed. It's going to be completely decimated and devastated and annihilated. Right? Erased. That's what the Lord is about to do to this place. Okay? But you got guys like this selling you a false narrative.
About the opposition thing. I promise you, bro. I just want to see you around more, brother. That's all. We love you. You used to ask some really good questions, but I'm pretty sure that this... Oh, also, too, before we get started, Mostly One West teaches the lake of fire is America. Now, going into this lake of fire, you're going to get a better understanding of Armageddon. A lot of Israelites thought that Armageddon in the Valley of Jehoshaphat was one single unified war. Yeah. It's not. So this lesson takes you down so many roads where you get clarity in the order of prophecy and the sequence of events in the last times. All right? So we're going to stay like this so I can be seen with my sword.
Yeah,
just in case
and this nigga's prideful, man. We're going to stay like this so I can be seen with my sword. This dude don't know how to wield the spiritual sword, let alone that physical sword. But it's about him. This is what these people do. And Jake always gets sucked up into these people who feign themselves to be men of the Lord, but then in reality, they're doing nothing but extorting and destroying you for your finances and for whatever other resources that you may have. That's no different than the Christian church, man. Right? And again, these people, they're not going to tell you the truth because they want to stay here. What he's not going to say openly is that he want America to go on. That's why he's saying that America is not going to be the lake of fire. He's talking about the Armageddon is not one single war. Nigga, that's World War III. And it's going the main theater for war is going to be in the Middle East, what you call Saudi Arabia. All right? And those in that area, as well as America and other places, because this place is going to be trampled with troops too. But the fight, the major war is going to be in what you call Saudi Arabia, the Middle East. Because that's the way Yahweh Shah is coming from. He's coming from the east and coming to the west. When he's coming, he's going to destroy these armies in a valley of judgment, right? Yahweh Shaphat. He's going to destroy them armies. They're going to try to fight him, right? He going to utterly destroy them, and at the same time, he's coming to America, right along with those nuclear missiles, right? They're going to be aimed at this place. What it says, 200,000. It's going to hit this place. It's going to destroy America. And this place is never going to be inhabited again. No one's going to come here to visit. No one's going to come here to dig in the dirt and find old relics of America. You're not going to see American flag, pieces of American flag just flying in the wind and an old building or something, the top of an old building. No, everything is going to be destroyed. Like these nuclear missiles are going to destroy everything from east to west, north to south in America. Man, I'm telling you. Okay, so let's go back to this, man. It says, holding fast to the faithful word as he been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and to convince the gainsayer. In the NLT it says he must have a strong belief in the trustworthy message he was taught. And these guys, they don't have a strong belief in a trustworthy message that they were taught. That's the reason why they're changing things up. Right? They gotta make things palatable for the people who don't believe. Because these guys are non-believers. Right? They gotta change it up because they don't want America to be destroyed. These niggas want America to stay. In their minds, this is the best it's gonna get. Right? The trustworthy message he was taught. Then he will be able to encourage others with wholesome teaching and show those who oppose it where they are wrong. And that's what we're doing. We're in that mindset. We're showing those who oppose this truth. These guys, Deacon, Hakah, and Hassad, these guys and people like them, they oppose the truth. This is the reason why they're speaking this bullshit, bro. Right? They want Jake to be comfortable. Right? They want you to, they want you to know you're an Israelite, but they want you to be comfortable here in captivity. Right? These guys always been rebellious. They've been rebellious since back in the day when they were amongst us. Right? I don't think Hassad was there. He came through them. But when Alizé and Hassad was amongst us, these niggas was rebellious, man, from the jump. right? Because they wanted to do their own thing. Then that shit didn't pan out. Now they split up, and now he just going off doing his own thing, right? Making up the story as he go along, and trying to sound deep, like he's pulling out some deep knowledge, and he ain't pulling out no deep knowledge, man. It says, verse 10, for there are many unruly, and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision. Right, there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially of those of the circumcision, meaning those that know that they're Israelites. And these are two of them. They're deceiving you by telling you that America is not the lake of fire. Right? Then the nigga said something about a river.
Listen, and then you got, we understand, Hassad. Go ahead and tell what you was gonna tell him.
Concerning what?
We understand that there's going to be
there's going to be a whole bunch of questions in regards to this. And we love nothing more than question.
And then these guys, they do this to spark up questions so they can have some type of engagement. But they don't agree, they never agree with the truth, the 100% truth, so they gotta do their own thing. They try to put a spin on it. Right? I just want to get the part where this dude was talking about America as a river. Here it is right here. I'm at the lake of fire, some type of river.
Your questions will help bring further clarity. All right? So now, let's go. Black Israelites wrong on this.
And that's another thing, too. They use these terms, Black Israelites. These are buzzwords. Brothers, you got to understand what buzzwords are. Like, what is a buzzword, right? These guys use something called buzzwords. So saying Black Israelites, right? Saying that invokes already a sense of disbelief. Because anything that comes from the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, y'all gonna automatically discount. And then the whole Black Israelites, that's nothing more than a government term. We're not black. We're just the Hebrew Israelites, right? Our skin is brown, different shades of it. And some of our brothers and sisters look like the other nations too. This is not a black thing, but these are buzzwords, right? So this is the definition for buzzword. Buzzword, a word or phrase, often an item of jargon that is fashionable at a particular time or in a particular context. It says, let me see. In the Webster Dictionary, it says, an important sounding, usually technical word or phrase, often of little meaning, used chiefly to impress laymen, like people who don't know, right? Also, a voguish word or phrase called also buzz phrase. Many products still treat personalization as a buzzword while offering few pathways to measure actual learning outcomes, right? And also, too, these buzzwords, they invoke an emotional response. So saying Black Israelites, that invokes an emotional response, not a logical or spiritual response. Okay.
And Hassad, I'll read, and then I would like for you to emphasize and harp on points as well. So this is the imagery. This is the imagery right here.
He says the doctrine of the lake of fire has long been misunderstood, confused with Christian mythology, and misapplied to America coming nuclear destruction. But when we rightly divide the scriptures from Isaiah and Ezekiel to Revelation and Second Esdras, as far a clearer picture emerges that the lake of fire is not America, but a literal, visible, divine judgment zone that begins in Basra. These niggas are gone, man. These niggas is gone. And again, they gotta say that because they do not want America destroyed, right? And that's a fucking river. This is not a lake, bro. Do you not know what a body of water looks like, right? What does a lake look like? Hold on, man. These niggas. This is what a lake is, right? Right? You look at it. These are images of lakes from above, right? And just picture America, right, on a world map, but on fire, in the midst of all this water, in the midst of these other lands like Canada, Mexico, South America, and it's the only thing between all of that that's on fire. It's gonna look like a lake of fire, man. Right? These are what a lake. These are lakes. This is what a lake looks like. A lake is not a river, right? A lake is not a river. This is a lake, right? This may look like a river, but no. But these are portions of lakes, man. A lake, a lake, a lake, right? Let's look up the definition of a lake. Of lake. All right, the definition of a lake. A lake is a large body of water surrounded by land. That's what a lake is, man. A lake is not a damn river, right? In Basra. America represents Basra. The land of Uz represents America. In the Bible, another code word for America is the land of Uz. Right? This America is the new Edom, right? And anywhere else these Edomites dwell at in the world in mass, and they is there a place? But America is Edom too, right? Who runs this place? Who operates this place? Who controls and make decisions in the place? The Edomites, right? Chiefly the Edomites, regardless of their so-called mixed pot of government. You know, different people from different nations. They represent Edomite interests. All right. So let's go back to Titus, man. These people are crazy, man. But again, these guys are hirelings. These guys, they don't fear the Lord, right? So they want to do their own thing, right? It says, Titus 1:10, for there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision. And the NLT says, for there are many rebellious people. And those two guys, they are extremely rebellious people who engage in useless talk and deceive others. This is especially true of those who insist on circumcision for salvation, because you had that going on. You had circumcision was a huge issue amongst Jake back then, because they thought that it had to be a physical thing for salvation, and that's not the case. Being circumcised is not, the end to be all of salvation, bro. It's if the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai has chosen you for salvation. That's what matters, through faith in Yahweh Shem Shai. And we exercise that faith by exercising these laws, statutes, commandments, one towards another, right? Speaking rightly, speaking truthfully, rightfully dividing the word of Yahweh Shem Shai, right? A workman that needeth not be ashamed, roughly paraphrasing. You see? But why they say they doing this is because what? They rebellious and engage in useless talks and deceive others. This whole conversation that these dudes is having, and I ain't even watched the whole 2 hours. It's useless talk, because this is not true. And then you got people on a comment board, oh yeah, that's good, brother. Oh yeah, that's good. I'm so glad you brothers brought a very solid understanding. No, they did not. Absolutely not. Right? This dude Richard right here says America is Mystery Babylon to be destroyed. Absolutely, bro. Nobody thumbs up that though. While WDF, John saw a lake, not a river. Exactly. I think that's supposed to be what the fuck, right? John saw a lake, not a river. It says One West used to say there was an X amount of nations, and then 15 years later they had to correct it all. I'm asking, is this another example of One West not having the truth? And that's the thing. They want, the whole One West Israelite thing, because the truth came out of One West, right? It absolutely did, right? A lot of splits took place, but the apostles and bishop elders, they held fast to the truth, and then they were multiplied in understanding even more than their teachers of old. Okay? So this is another reason why they're coming out against One West. They always did it. They infiltrated with money. They infiltrated with false leadership, weak leadership. They infiltrated it with a whole bunch of ideologies, right? And that's happening today. These guys are opposed to Yahweh Shem Shai. That's why the scripture says that there are many anti-messiahs, man. These niggas don't want Yahweh Shai to come back, bro. They don't want these two idiots. They don't want Yahweh Shem Shai to return. They don't want America to be destroyed, because to them, This is as good as it's gonna get. America is their bread and butter. You can wear the hat. You can wear the hats all you want. You can do whatever you want. You can dress up in these fancy outfits. You can hold these swords that you don't even know how to wield. Right? I want everybody to see. I'm gonna stay like this because I want everybody to see my sword. Right? Just people that self-indulge, man. Right? That's what these guys are. Lovers of themselves more than truth, man. And then they got these lofty titles, priest. What priest is he? A priest of Satan. You ain't a priest of Yahweh Shai. Right? And then you get these simpletons like this guy, Kassad, who follows this dude. Right? You thought the dude had some type of sense, you know, but look at this guy, man. This guy he's a weirdo, bro. He was a weirdo when he was amongst us, man. He's even more weird now. You know what I'm saying? Trying to want himself to be deep, but in reality, these dudes are anti-messiahs. Man, they're against Yahweh Shai, they're against his men, they're against Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, they're against the truth, man. Right? And these are traits of a hireling, man. They don't care about the sheep. Let's see. Hire. I don't know if I spelled this right. Hireling, right? This is the book of St. John chapter 10, verse 12. It says, but he that is a hireling and not the shepherd, right? These dudes are hirelings. They're not shepherds of Yahweh Bashem Shai. They were not set up to do that, right? It says, but he that is an hireling and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, right? The sheep are the true followers and believers in Yahweh Bashem Shai. We don't belong to Deacon Hassad, whatever that nigga name is, man. Deacon Hakkad and Hassad. We don't belong to them. So they don't treat us with any care, right? They just say whatever they want, right? It says, but he that is an hireling and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming and leaveth the sheep and fleeth, and the wolf catcheth them and scattereth the sheep. The hireling fleeth because he is a hireling and careth not for the sheep, right? And the NLT says the hired hand runs away because he's working only for the money and doesn't really care about the sheep. And that's what these niggas is doing. These dudes is about the money. They don't care about the sheep of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. They do not care. They got to want themselves to be these scholars and super deep. They get a couple of compliments, and next thing you know, these niggas just come making some whole shit up, man. That don't make no sense. And they don't care what they tell the sheep. They don't care what they show the sheep, because at the end of the day, all they care about is the money. Right? Let me go back to Titus. Go back to Titus. Titus chapter 1, verse 10 again. For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake, for money. Right? Verse 11 in the NLT, it says they must be silenced because they are turning whole families away from the truth by their false teaching, and they do it only for money. That's what these niggas doing. And they ain't going to stop until Yahweh Bashem Shai stop them. Right? They get put to death. Something happened to them. Something wild shit happened to them. Right? And they ain't going to see it as judgment. They head of their group, he got exposed for being a total hypocrite and sodomite. Lord knows what these dudes is into. Right? Birds of a feather flock together. Right? It says, and that's what they're doing. It says one of themselves, even a prophet. Yeah, claiming to be prophet. Even one of their own men, a prophet from. Okay, let me read this again. Salaki. Yeah, let me keep on reading. It says, one of themselves, even a prophet of their own, said the Cretans are always liars, evil beasts, slow bellies. It says, this witness is true. Wherefore rebuke them sharply, that they may be sound in faith. Right? Scripture says in verse 13, this is true. So reprimand them sternly to make them strong in the faith. And that's what that's supposed to do. When you get rebuked, especially sternly, it's supposed to make you strong in the faith. But these guys, they get rebuked and they start rebelling more. They start kicking more. Okay? That's what they do. Right? It says, not giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of men that turneth from the truth. Yep. It says, unto the pure all things are pure, but unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure. But even their mind and conscience is defiled. Everything is pure to those whose hearts are pure, but nothing is pure to those who are corrupt and unbelieving, because their minds and conscience are corrupted. And exactly, and that's what you see with these guys. Right? These guys are anti-Hamashiach. They speak against Yahushua. They speak against the truth, his word, 100% truth. They speak against the prophets, starting with the apostles that disseminate this information and word and truth. Right? Because again, they only care about themselves. Their God is their bellies. That's why it's all about the money for these dudes, man. It's all about the money and the prestige. And when one shtick don't work, they flip it on to another shtick. And people follow that shit. But I'm telling you, stay away from these guys, man. These guys are completely off. They're completely wrong, right? They're trying to want themselves to be prophets, and they're not prophets. These are not prophets of Yahweh Shem Shai, because a prophet is going to tell you the truth. The scripture says that there is no guile in their mouths, man. Guileless lies, man, and that's what these guys got. And so with that, I would say shalom on to the next.